No, that's the meeting that you're supposed to be in. What's the time over there
Right.
on your side?
Right now it is 10:43 a.m.
Damn, whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Sacramento, California, man.
Oh, Sacramento. Is that born and raised there?
No, actually, I was I lived in a lot of different places. I was born in Nigeria.
Oh, for real?
Um, yes, sir.
Oh,
Moved to Atlanta when I was like 3. Moved to Nebraska. Lived there for
damn.
like 9 years, and then we moved to Manteca, California. That's where I grew up. And after college at Santa Barbara, I moved out here to Sacramento.
Yeah. Oh, amazing, man.
Yeah,
You done the whole route then. And you know,
yeah, man.
the thing I find about the states, I feel like culturally, every single state is different. And I
It
feel like
is.
people from different states, they behave different, they act
They
different, they
do.
look different, they're completely different
It's
human
true.
beings wherever you go. It's
It's
very
true.
diverse in terms of its cultural like aesthetics and across the country.
It's true, man. It
Yeah.
really is. Like, even in the state itself, like different areas of the state act differently,
Sure.
depending on like where you are. Like especially in California, NorCal and SoCal, almost completely different places. You know what
For
I'm
real.
saying? Like weather-wise, vibe-wise,
Yeah.
interaction-wise, it's very. You're right. It's very
Oh, for
diverse.
I've only ever been to the East Coast. I've been to New York a couple of times.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. But I definitely want to explore more of the states. I love the southern states, but that's just probably because of my love for history and culture, and
Hmm.
specifically the history of like the black journey within
The
America. I think
movement there.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of strength and there's a lot of core fundamentals that happen in the South that kind of
Yes.
reflects upon most of the other states as well. So I really like to
You're
do like
right.
a road trip across the southern states. But everyone always tells me
That'd be
that's a bit
awesome.
dangerous. It's a bit crazy to be doing a road trip across the southern states.
You know what, they may be coming from experience when they tell you that.
Oh,
So
for real?
the only thing is like you just if you can find somebody down there ahead of time, you should be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
so I think it's all about planning, and it's all about planning is the biggest thing.
most
But
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I was
yeah,
like yourself. I was born in West Africa. I was born in Ghana.
okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right,
I'm a proud West African. I was meant to go
yes,
Nigeria
sir.
last year Christmas actually, but
Uh-huh.
because I go Ghana at least twice a year, so I go
Hmm.
mid-year and then Christmas just to party. So mid-year business,
No,
family, Christmas turn up. Like,
yes, sir. That's
for
where I
real.
was last year with my family. That's where we were there from December 20th to January 10th, I believe.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
were there for Christmas and everything. Drank a
yeah.
lot of palm wine and all
Oh
that.
man, it's hard to come back though, man. After like a trip to West
Yeah,
Africa, like it's difficult. It hurts when you're
it's
coming back.
different. It
Yeah,
really is. It's like, man, it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. No, definitely. But welcome to Let's Do Humans podcast, Josh, and thanks for hitting me up by
yes,
the way as
sir.
well. Yeah, is Josh Knight your
Hey,
name or is that the musical?
that's my artist name,
Okay, amazing.
Josh Knight. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Josh is actually my it's my I go by it. It's my first name out here, in the States, and I've been going by it since I've been growing up. But it's actually technically my middle name. I have
okay,
I haven't like my ethnic name is
yeah,
Chineza. And so Chineza Joshua, and then my last name. But then growing up, my parents just kind of they wanted me to like have a little bit of an easier time. This was like the '90s growing up.
yeah,
They didn't want me to have like all the any like kind of backlash or whatever. So they call me Joshua, which is my name.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But just to have a little bit easier time in school, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's how that is.
Okay, yeah, it's a crazy time to think about it. That the fact that our parents had to figure out our names
Right.
to enable us to have a better time. But I think the tide is
Hmm.
kind of changing now. To in
It
essence, like
definitely is.
yeah,
Hmm.
people are proud. Like, I mean, I don't know the
Yeah.
feeling over there in the States, but here in the UK in
Yeah.
particular, growing up, a lot of us Africans that were born in
Hmm.
like late 80s, early 90s, we used to
Hmm.
always like try and identify as Caribbean to an extent because the bullying in
Hmm.
school was so vast that in order to
Right.
avoid being bullied by your fellow blacks, you pretended as if
Hmm.
you were Caribbean because that was
Yeah.
the lesser of the two, also
I
developed by the
gotcha.
two supposedly at the time. So it's
Yes.
crazy, but now everyone's like African. Like,
Everyone's like Wakanda. I'm like, it's not even real, bro.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
cool.
I was like, back in school, you were calling me so different names, bro. Like,
Right, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, just this is real different now. But you're right. Everyone is very proud to be, from the land and everything. And it's like It's funny. As I was saying that, I was like, man, looking back, I kind of wish I had gone by, my name,
Yeah,
which is still my name. My parents called a couple of my close friends call me that, but it just goes to show that, man, it's real. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that now it's becoming a thing and everybody wants to be part of it. It's like, well, where was this, growing up? But now it's like, it's fine then. And that was past and you can accept how it is now and be happy for what it is now. And, this is something, that our own kids growing up we can be happy that they're a part of it.
Most definitely. I'm definitely happy to be a part of this next step whereby when I have kids, I can be super proud of who I am and where we're from. Because it was tough growing up and trying to like denounce yourself. And it's a horrible feeling now when I look back at it, but now it's definitely going to change. Like my kids are going to know where they're from. Like the language will be kept. So I'm happy that I'm able to speak the language and I speak it fluently. Because when I go back home, even though I have that diaspora disconnect, I still connect with them on that end. That you can't try and cheat me on the street because I understand what you're saying.
You see, and that's where I need to get to, man. This one thing, my parents, they didn't really speak it to me growing up. I mean, they did here and there, bits and pieces, and I can understand, but I'm not fluent with speaking, you know what I'm saying? So when I go back and, the elders will talk to me, I'm just like, but I can't respond back to them, you know what I'm saying? But that is a goal of mine, to become fluent again and everything. And just so I can have that for my kids again, like, what I'm saying? Because it is like, I want to be going back, on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I met my cousins over. It's crazy because the last time I met, this is the first time. I think the second oldest grandchild, but still, all my cousins are like, a lot of my cousins are around my age.
Yeah.
So when I went back, this is the first time I got to see everybody like as an adult. You know what I'm saying? Kind of growing up into themselves. And it's cool. And so I'm like, wow, these people I would hang out with, if they were in the States, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see, I would just hang, it was just a rare experience. Like, like we have kind of the same sense of humor. Like we kind of think similar, even though we're miles and miles and miles and miles apart. I would hang out with you every single day. You know what I'm saying?
Real.
So now it's like, that's like a drive for me. Like, all right, cool. This is like family that I want to stay in touch with, connect with. I need to be able to like bridge this border language wise. They can speak English fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So I should be able to.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, man. I didn't even know you was Nigerian, funny enough. So it's really
yes, sir.
Yeah, because most people that live in the States that I connect with is they're trying to find out where they're placed in terms of like the motherland, and it's very difficult most of the time. But then to have that connection and knowing that you were born there as well is very different. But can you tell us a bit about Josh, the musician, Josh Knight, the musician?
Man, where do you want to start?
Like, what's the inspiration? Because I had to listen to some of your tracks. It's dope stuff, man. Really, really dope stuff. Very eclectic. Like you've got various sounds to you, and it's pretty sick, man.
Thank you, man. Well, I mean, it's been a long journey, and the journey's still going. Everything kind of started. I would say it's a mix of like my upbringing and like just like intrinsic interest in traits, you know what I'm saying? My dad was always listening to music. He had a bunch of records and stuff. He was a big Bob Marley fan.
Oh man, that's my favorite, man. All time.
Exactly. Fleetwood Mac. He just had my dad exactly. He had an eclectic taste in music himself, you know what I'm saying? So I'd be listening to that and things like that. And then I remember vividly, like it was one Christmas he bought. I got for Christmas like a miniature like grand piano, miniature. Okay. And we opened it, and I started figuring out how to play "Mary Had a Little Lamb." You know what I'm saying? With no lessons or nothing, just right there. And I think
ear basically.
Exactly, just off ear. And so that's kind of like the beginning kernel of everything. Like, so there's a lot of stuff. From there, I had like piano lessons that I didn't really take seriously at the time because. Growing up as an African or like any other, kind of country like that, it's like, okay, you got to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the things. Doctor specifically was the one that was like mine. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you're born, doctor hat. You know what I'm saying? So know the choice. Know the choice.
And they end up cool. What I realized with a lot of my cousins as well, not me particular, because they probably knew I wasn't going to be a doctor from the bat. But with a lot of my younger siblings and relatives and stuff, they give it nicknames like, "Oh, you're Dr. Julian." Like I'm like the kid is like 3 years old. Like
exactly, this guy's 8 months. What you mean? Exactly. So I mean, so that's why I didn't take it so seriously, because I was like, why am I in these classes when y'all are talking to me like I'm gonna be a doctor? You know, this is me as a kid. You know what I'm saying? 10-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid. But then as life goes on, the interest still builds and everything. Um, a couple of instances happened in like high school when I was able to, actually perform in front of my peers. Like I had to audition for like the national anthem and all that stuff, and I got it, which was like a big like push in that direction. You know what I'm saying? And then when I got into college, there was no sports, and I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. So this was my time to really look into that side of myself that I hadn't been able to growing up. You know what I'm saying? So I joined I tried out again for an all-male a cappella group at UCSB called Brothers from Other Mothers. Shout out to B-Farm. And they are a huge reason in like what I'm able to do, because it was like my opportunity to sharpen, you know what I'm saying? Because everything was like raw up until that point. I didn't have like a group of people to build my gift off of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is where I was able to, we had shows, you know what I'm saying? We would have a show every quarter. And we did this I was on the group for 4 years. So every quarter we would have to think of a theme. We would like get like 15 songs ready, you know what I'm saying? So we would have 2 practices a week, Wednesdays and Fridays, I believe, or no, Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesdays 2 hours, Sundays 3 hours. Yeah. So this was a thing, you know what I'm saying? This was like a regiment, 4 years. Like I said, this was like almost my sports aspect.
Yeah.
Like I was like a 3-sport athlete, always working, doing something. So when I was in college and I was able to join this group, it kind of, that aspect of sports meshed with like the music side. So it became like a beautiful thing where I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm perfecting this thing.
Yeah, for real.
So that's kind of where like it started. But then it wasn't until so many memories, man. It wasn't until
coming back now.
It is, man. Like it wasn't until I joined a fraternity, which I had no intention of joining a fraternity, but somehow, some way, the universe had it in store for me to join a fraternity. And I joined, and they made me do. There's this big old talent show. It's called. They do philanthropies, right, where they raise money for events and things like that in the Greek system. And one of their big ones was basically a big talent show. Each fraternity throws in one person for the show, basically just to show, it's a show, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I had no intention of joining the fraternity, let alone like doing anything like showy like that. I was content, you know what I'm saying, doing myself with the a cappella group. But of course, the people in the fraternity, they found out about that. And it's so interesting. Like I thought they would be all judgy and things like that, which is a testament to like, I didn't really want to join, but I'm glad I joined the one that I did, because they really allowed me to be who I was and everything, which is
did you
more
have
of the reason.
Notion about how they'll receive your music and you as a person?
I just had a preconceived notion of how they would receive somebody like a big black guy who's like singing and doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Was it like an all-white fraternity?
Yes, that's the thing. It wasn't all white. There was some brothers in there. There's some Asians. It was they did a good job of keeping it mixed. So it was for sure majority white. This is Santa Barbara. You know what I'm saying? And I love them, but like I said, I just didn't know how it would be received. So when I got in, and I'm like I'm still like pledging at this point. I'm still like trying to get in. But they find out that I can do this and they make me do the show. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to do this show. So I do the show, you know what I'm saying? No intentions of like, just doing my best, you know what I'm saying? I tap in with like my group, my a cappella group, so we can do a song. Like everyone has like their own solo. So I tap in to do one solo with them. And then one of my fraternity brothers or pledge brothers at the time coming up, he was a beatboxer. So I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one with my group. And then I'm going to do one of my favorite songs a cappella, which was "How to Love" by Lil Wayne.
Oh shit.
So I was like, yo, bro, can you learn how to beatbox a cappella this beat? And then I'm gonna sing How to Love over it. And he's like, yeah, I could do that. So like, cool. So time of the show comes, whatever. It's full. Like, this is probably the biggest crowd that I've, been in front of. Like, I've done, what is it, up to this point. For the a cappella group, we have like little theaters that we are able to do, and they're like small theaters and things like that. But for this this philanthropy event, it was one of the huge like classroom halls, which is bigger than those theaters. This was Campbell Hall. Like everybody from UCSB knows Campbell Hall. It's the big hall, like the big old cake. Like it looks like a cake. It's a big, 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 big. Oh, hold on. I'm getting a call here.
Oh, no worries.
All right. We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, dang, this is a lot of people. I did not, because it's all the Greek system. It's every single, there's like 8 or 9, Greek, Greek philanthropies and sororities there. And it's all packed, you know what I'm saying? So everyone's doing their time, everyone goes, and then I finally go, you know what I'm saying? My heart's beating and all that stuff. And I'm like, dang, guys, this is big.
Biggest one so far, yeah.
This is the biggest one so far. And this is, fraternities and sororities, pretty judgmental. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even as much as there's a stigma, some of it is true, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I got into a great fraternity, but that doesn't mean like all the other fraternities out there were as
good as
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Exactly, or as cool or accepting, or as you know what I'm saying? And still, these are kids growing up. These are young kids, and they're people, you know what I'm saying? People just want to be cool at that age.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna do what I can, and I'm just whatever happens. I do that. I do my set with my a cappella group, and then I first actually do my set with my brother, and I have him like, he's got dreads at the time. I'm like, all right, I need you to shake your dreads, get the crowd going. So I was like, I didn't have dreads at the time. Now I got some flow. I didn't have any at the time, but I was like, I got to get him hyped somehow.
Go get the dreads in there.
Yeah. So we did that. He beatboxes, I do. We both kill it. I'm like, cool. And then my group goes, and shouts out to them because they made me look amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like they killed all their parts, and just it was made my solo look so much easier. And everyone's like up cheering. I'm like, all right, cool. So I did my thing. It was cool. We leave. The show goes on. At the end of the show, they announce, all right, time for the winners. And I get it. I won. I'm just like, what in the what? So that was a big push. But the thing was, it continues at the after party. I remember this vividly because this was the moment, kind of, that this was the switch. Everyone's, and I have a test the next day. So I have to study. And everyone in the fraternity is like, oh, you killed it. We got to have an after party. Everyone's coming.
That's when the trouble starts.
You know what? So you would think, I think I'm a Nigerian, and I got Nigerian parents. So I'm like, I need to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So I make my parents, you know what I'm saying? I just say hey to everybody, get my congrats and all that stuff. One of my fraternity brothers, Frank Conrad, I remember this because this is what he comes up to me, and Frank Conrad, he's a great artist. Like, he loves to draw and everything. So I think this is where he was coming from. He's like, dude, and he's drunk. Everyone's drunk. He's like, dude, why aren't you doing this more? I'm like, I'm doing it. He's like, no. Yeah. But you're not doing it. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, I know you love this. I know you want to do this for real. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna be a doctor. And he's like, no. He's like, dude, I know you want to do this. Just do it. I was like, man. So that was the moment. And I leave. I go home. I got to study. But that stuck with me. So that set like a chain of events that like made me like continue. And the story continues. Like it's a very like in-depth story. Like I met certain people. Like everything's like universe aligned type of stuff. So and you can tell like I can keep going about this story forever. But that's how it started. That's a little bit of like the beginning.
When it comes to being in the creative arts, one thing I mean, the sad part about like what the relationship between parents and children and harnessing their children's skill sets is I think there's so many dreams and passions that have been kind of destroyed by the hopes of the parents for their children to go for like a particular career or like whatever field that they would deem desirable. And a lot of that tends to be stemmed from like cultural like side of things, that roles that were like historically or traditionally like accepted as being roles of respect, roles of high position and of
exactly.
When you realize that, I remember like hearing my siblings talk to my parents, or hearing like younger siblings talk to their parents that, you know, mom and dad, you know, there's people out here taking pictures on Instagram earning like 50 times more than the doctor that you want me to go and be. Because
it's crazy.
If it's all about money, if we're talking about finances, then right now the roles that they wanted us all to get into, they're at the bottom of the spectrum right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, is there a shift that needs to be made? I don't know, but there needs to be more understanding. Maybe we'll change with like the generational change, because obviously the way that we would maybe engage with our kids when we have them would be way different to how our parents engage with us in terms of like career-wise. Because I would not push my kids into college if I see that they're going in a completely different direction.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're exactly right, and I think it is heading that way. You know what I'm saying? I like even talking to my cousins in Nigeria, like they're even like, "Yo, I don't want to go to school. Like I want to do stuff. Like there's like I want to start business." And I'm like, "All right, cool. You're like me. Like it's not just me. It's like it's our. You know what I'm saying? Like even though you grew up there, like you're still, you know what I'm saying, aware of the things about life. You know what I'm saying? So it is a generational thing, as I think, and it just has to be a continuous push, and I think it's continuing that way. There's just a lot more different things out there that you don't necessarily need a 4-year paper degree for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
My situation is interesting because although I went to a 4-year paper degree school, if I hadn't gone there, I might not have found the situations I needed to flush into.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like because now I don't struggle with it. I tell people like, what are you going for? You know what I'm saying? For me, I think it was, like I said, God, the universe, giving me a situation to actually grow. Because growing up with my parents, of course, they wanted me to be protected. So I grew up protected, in a certain way. Yeah. Didn't see certain things about life. So this was my opportunity to actually get, I didn't really, hang out with, I didn't really hang out growing up. It was just like school and sports. Exactly. Yeah. I had to like make up excuses to go hang out with my friends. All right, we got a school project. I got to finish it tonight. So, you know what I'm saying? And, they became a little bit more lenient with my siblings growing up and things. But as the oldest, you get the first of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So college was really my first, like, now you're out there, figure out things. And so I needed that. Somebody else might not, though. Somebody else might just need to go to like a 1-year trade school, which is what I ended up doing. I became an LVN. That's what I am right now, which just helps me like do what I need to do. It's a flexible schedule. The pay is good enough for me to like, throw into what I need. So I finally came about like, it's still in the med career, saying funnily enough. So, but, it is like about what do you need and what do you really want to do with life. But if you need a job, find like a trade school. That's why I tell people now, if you just need a job, if you want something that's applicable to skills to get you into something so that you can work, get something to go to what you actually want to do, get into a trade school, because trade schools are, people need, people back in the day, you would think, oh, he's a plumber. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. It's a pretty dirty job.
Big time paid.
Boom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Welders,
exactly.
Builders, like plumbers, electricians.
Exactly. Because things are going to break down, you know what I'm saying? So You need those like quick handyman people who can get there quickly. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why, that's why I can tell. That's where I see it going. You know what I'm saying? It's these trade schools where you can actually get something, a skill that's really applicable, as opposed to theory that may or may not be, in tune anymore, depending on the year the books you read. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it really all depends. And then again, like some people who have that entrepreneurial spirit don't need any of that at all. You know what I'm saying? They can get it and go, and they need that nurturing from the get. They need somebody to, maybe they don't, but would help if they had somebody like a parent who saw that in them and let them do it. Like somebody like, if you listen to Gary Vee's story, that's kind of him. I think his mother saw that right away and just let him be who he was. And so, and he's an immigrant as well too. But I would say, of course, he's a Caucasian immigrant. Maybe it's a little bit different story, an African immigrant story. But that's where we come in.
But still, as a parent, being able to identify and harnessing those skills, I think it shouldn't be limited, because I think with African or Black parents or whatever, or African immigrants, they should still be able to identify a kid's skill set, and give them some sort of like challenging task in order to develop those. I think we should be able to start figuring those things out, because that's what creates the child, by giving them challenges. Challenges is what we, in essence, as human beings, is what helps us.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's something akin to keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I'm saying? We believe as Africans or whatever, it's a little bit antiquated to believe like, oh, these are the jobs because that's what's successful over there. It's just a little bit behind, you know what I'm saying? But now what the trend should be is recognizing unique and individual things.
Yeah.
Because that's where the value is going to go, because nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a mindset shift of thinking, oh, my son's got to do this thing that these people, everyone else thinks is the thing. Or my kid has to do this thing that I believe that these people think. And it's got to switch to, oh, this is something my kid can do that these people can't.
Yeah.
Let's make this the thing. Let's make this as good as it can get. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be that. It's a mindset shift. But then that, again, like I said, it's us recognizing it in our generation. It will be the shift. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I said, I had this. You know what I'm saying? And to my dad's credit, he recognized, and in little ways, even though as much as he wanted me to go to med school, in little ways, me growing up, and even till today, like today we're kind of on the same page, me and parents. Like if we work through things, like we're on a good page. But like in ways, like he saw that, recognized it, and in his own way, like kept it. You know, so the fact that he put me in the piano lessons, that was his idea. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who got me I don't know who got me the present, but he was put me in the piano lessons. I think one time in school, like I'm an artistic person in general. Like I can draw and all. That was like my first love was drawing. One time in school, like I did a drawing, and the teacher was like, she was in love with it. She was like, I can't believe he was able to catch this and like get the what is it, reflection of the sun, because kids at this age don't know about reflections. I'm like, and he kept that all these years. I'm like, and he's like, he brings it up all the time. I'm like, okay, so you can recognize that stuff in me. So it's all about recognizing it and being okay with it. Because I think, at a certain point, it's just they want me to be safe and okay. He might recognize, oh, that's cool, but life, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's all about recognizing it and being able to see. Of course, you got to be pragmatic and be like, is this something he might be good at it, but is he good at it to that extent of, all right, yes. So that's a skill in itself to recognize that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm a creative guy. I'm doing music and not drawing, because my drawing's all right, but compared to what I do musically, no.
For real.
So it's things like that. Somebody could have a lot of good things that they're good at, but it's figuring out the thing that they're good at and that will provide value, you know what I'm saying? And that they can do at a high level.
Yeah.
So
And I think when it's harnessed from a young age as well, it prevents you from being in a longer stage of confusion when you get older. Because
Right.
even at this age, I mean, I'm 30s. Even at this stage, I'm still trying to figure out me. I'm still trying to
Right.
figure out what I'm good at, what I'm great at, and what I can harness. Because I've got the technical skills in terms of like the day-to-day work I do. So like data analytics and stuff. That's one
Right.
thing. But regardless of how much that pays me as whatever, nonetheless, it's not my deep passion. You see what I
I
mean? So
got you.
like now, since I started podcasting, my family's been in radio for years, by the way. So I'll just give you a bit of
Interesting.
background in terms of like Let's Do Humans podcast. So
Yeah.
my family's been in radio for forever, near enough a decade, I think.
Oh
They,
wow.
they had they were part of a Ghanaian radio station here in the UK. It was a pirate radio
Okay.
station, but I think they're kind of legit now. I think they're legit now. I'm
They
not going to
got
give out
there.
the names before the authorities hunt them down, but
Gotcha.
yeah. So I used to,
Redacted.
yes, I used to be in and around that sort of environment. And then also in the
Cool.
last couple of years, whenever they were discussing topics in relations to like young people, whether it be knife crime in London or relationship issues that they're discussing within the diaspora, then they'll invite me on there and I'll jump on to the show and stuff. And as I was
Good.
doing, I was also hosting like little get-togethers in my house where various people meet up and have discussions. And off of the back of those two things, people just kind of encouraged me to set up my own thing. And I was like, do you know what? I can't be bothered. Like it's just too much going on.
Right.
And eventually, we have
Right.
some friends that are extremely forceful and they think that you're capable of doing something because they think I've got a knack
Mm-hmm.
with connecting with people. They think I've got a
Mm-hmm.
personality which most people like, and I tend to like most people
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. Like so, it's like
Exactly.
they just pushed me, and then I got into it. Started doing the audio stuff first, and I was falling in love with it, and also getting great feedback and connecting with people. They're now going on to the YouTube stuff, and I'm just merging it all together. So that's like a bit of the back end. But
Nice.
now I realize that I enjoy it. Like I can podcast all day long. I can talk to people all day long
Yes.
if I had to.
Yes.
You see what I mean? I can talk to people all day long, but nonetheless, the data side, which I'm skilled at, I can't do that more than the 8 hours which I'm contracted to do. And if anything after that, I'm pulling my hair.
Exactly.
Even halfway through, I'm like,
Exactly.
yeah. And I had an amazing conversation with my current manager about a year ago, and he was talking about in terms of my energy levels. He said he can see that I'm slacking in terms of my energy levels because he knows I'm capable of more, but I'm not. But he said something interesting to me, which kind of like kicked me up the backside. He was like, I know this is not you. I know as much as you might like the organization, as much as you might like that it keeps the bills paid and gives you extra cash or whatever, I know you got other passions because obviously he must follow my work or he must see my work. I never really discussed it with him directly.
Right. But he must check up on it on his own
Yeah,
time.
no, now he does because he's told me that he does. But he said something. He was like, look, just see it like this. Come here, give me what I require. And then once you leave, then focus where your passion is until your passion can get you to a point where you don't need this extra bit. And I was like, raw, for this white dude to tell me that and to show me what
Bro.
I'm concerned and to give me the advice that I needed to hear, I was like, cool, I'm gonna go for it. So now I started giving him exactly what they required as an organization, and my energy levels went up because I felt the
There you
support from what
go.
I was doing externally. But then he showed me how much
Exactly.
passion there is in what I'm doing now, so I'm putting more energy into it. But then I'm thinking, as imagine we're given this a younger age and we're
At a
having these
younger
direct
age.
conversations with our parents, with our elders, and they're highlighting these issues that are going on in our heads and these worries that we have with education or with the work that we're doing and our passions, and they're able to level it out and break it down to us in such a way that enables us to keep motivated doing the day-to-day stuff that puts food on the table, but also they give us that support to keep pushing. I think we're going to get to
Exactly.
where we need to get to even quicker and with more zeal
Exactly.
and more energy.
I think so. I think so. And like I said, we can't dwell on the past. You know what I'm saying? We can't, the past is what it was. So it's literally now like we're of the age of it's the responsibility of us because our parents are not going to have more kids. So the next kids are ours. So it's
Yeah.
like if we wanted to continue, then we have to continue.
Mm.
Yeah, that's amazing. All you said was when you were talking about, man, you said a lot, but I want to
Mm.
talk about a couple things you said. When you were talking about how you can podcast all day.
Mm.
So I got my degree in biological psychology. So I love psychology. I love
Oh,
how the
same.
brain works.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got my degree in that. If I went back to school, I would do it again because it's
Yeah.
like I just love everything reality is not what everybody thinks it is. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
likewise. All I read is psychology books.
Exactly. So that's a flow state. I was like, just all I'm going is that's called a flow state. And so we need to identify when our kids or when people are in flow states, because that's the thing. When you feel like time is just going and you can do it effortlessly all day. I can sit here and create songs all day. I can do it all day. Give me 2 minutes, I'll make something. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of my songs, it's a big secret. A lot of my songs I make in a day. Like a lot of the things, a lot of the songs in my project I made, like my roommates are here, like they were here when I made them. I made them in a day. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So when you can find that ability, but I didn't know 5 hours just went by. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that you need to continue to hone. And that's when you can see as a parent, oh, my kid has been here doodling like all day. Yeah. Like some kids have stopped doodling at this age, but my kid is still doodling and he doodles all day. Let me see what he feels about that. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's something to tap into. You know what I'm saying? My kid, he's always humming and tapping. Why? Like, I know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like he's fine with school, but like, why is he always humming and tapping? You know, it's like noticing those types of things. So it goes back to a different type of skill set that we, or that parents, need to look into and need to also develop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And these are things you don't know until you know. Like our parents didn't know that they needed to look into this stuff, and they're only humans like we are. You grow up and you think your humans are perfect, and then you realize, oh wait, they're just people who try to make it like I'm trying to make it. They didn't know things. You know what I'm saying? Certain things I know that they didn't know. Certain things they know that I haven't yet to learn. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they didn't know about this growing up. They didn't know, and it wasn't popular. Now it's a popular thing to like figure out, oh, what should we do about this next kid generation? You know what I'm saying? So it all goes back to like responsibility of the self. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And sometimes you can't blame them as well because their journeys and struggles were way different. They weren't surviving.
Yeah.
I mean, they came over.
Exactly.
We go eat, we go pay our bills now. Everyone has
exactly.
Mode. Whilst we've been given a bit more of a luxury to now figure ourselves out and
test
things because we're in the system now. And wherever was when some of them came over, they were just trying to avoid immigration from capturing them. So they constantly in that state, that mind state, and
that survival state, that like gotta watch out state.
And I've been privileged to be able to have like open conversations with my parents, so I know where their mind state was at the time. It was like, yo, if I can't lose this job because it will be near enough impossible for me to find another one. So to be in a mind state and then trying to raise kids at the same time is very different. So yeah, we should definitely go forward, like use the privilege that we have to enable our kids to have a better future. But so I got a question for you, since you're from the States. The last year or so has been like a super interesting view for us outside of the States in terms of like the social movement and also the election and everything else. To me, it's just been one massive, I don't want to call it entertaining because I know people are really struggling out there and people are really...
I know what you want to say shit show, but it's okay.
It's been a massive shit show. Like, I mean, we don't have the best stuff. We don't have the best political state here either. We have our own issues going on. And even after the pandemic, now we're just being reminded that we got Brexit like just popping up around the corner and we have no deal at the moment. And on the 1st of Jan, we have no deal, and everyone's kind of like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And I have flights booked across Europe that are just being cancelled left, right, and center. They're like, well, we don't know if you might need a visa to go here, so we're just going to cancel your flight. We don't know what's going on, and businesses are struggling. So it's been a shit show everywhere, but the States in particular, that's next level of a shit show. How's it been on ground zero for like someone that lives out there?
Man, it has really been something else. And I think I have a very unique perspective on it because a couple of things. I wasn't a nurse up until this year. This is my first year as being a nurse. I was in school for a year, and then we went to Nigeria. And then as we came back, that's when I became. I was working a little bit, but it's been a year since I've been a nurse. But imagine if I wasn't in school to be a nurse at the time. Before then, I was kind of struggling, and like I was a substitute teacher, and it was just hard to come by substitute teaching jobs where I was, specifically because I had just moved. So I was just having a hard time. A lot of different things had happened. And imagine that if I was still in that position now, I don't know what I would be doing, because everyone has like, everybody significantly shut down unless you are a essential worker. So healthcare, all that stuff are essential workers. So it was a blessing that in time I was able to become an LVN. So, and that's helped me to continue to do music. Some people don't have an outlet, you know what I'm saying? So, and then on top of that, just, oh man, on top of that, my birthday this year was on election day.
Oh, for real?
Right. So it was a lot of different things, a lot of like layered things that gave me a unique perspective of this year. But at the end of the day, it made me just be really thankful, because I really could have been in a different spot. My family could have been in a different spot. And it's really interesting, especially when you're in healthcare, to hear all these stories about people, you know, losing their loved ones and passing away. And then also hearing like the contradicting things in the news of like what you should do, you know what I'm saying? Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, things like that. And like even now it's like hard to even put into words, because it's real. Like it's a real thing. The virus itself is a real thing. But of course, I also know what fear does to people. You know what I'm saying? So part of me knows that it's real because I'm in the healthcare service. I know it's real. But me, like just knowing what I know about psychology and what media is today, I know that there's a fear play as well. So it's a clashing of things that's in the States, you know what I'm saying? It's been a clashing of things, like people are talking out of both sides of their mouth, you know what I'm saying? And people are getting contradicting things and they don't know what to listen to. And it becomes really hard to like decipher what's true and what's not, because of everything like social media and all that stuff, everything that becomes, what's the word? Inflated, you know what I'm saying? People grab on like somebody says something, and then it just, because people want to be the first person or get notoriety for saying it first, it becomes a thing without people going to back check and things like that. So, these are things that are all like interwoven in like the whole dynamic of the States this past year. You know what I'm saying? I think everything kind of came to a head with healthcare, with what was going on in media, with people's financial situations. I think everything just kind of came to a head. And like I said, I can just be grateful to God that, you know, that I was able to be in a position where it wasn't as tough as it was for other people, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And my prayers always go out to people who are struggling, you know, especially in times like this. I know people who have lost, you know, their jobs, lost businesses, lost loved ones. And so it's been a very unique time. It's been a very unique time. And we can only pray and hope that things will start to shift in a more positive direction coming 2021, you know.
The thing is, like, with human beings, fearing, well, in particularly with modern day human beings, fear and sex is like the biggest sellers. And in knowing that our media is here to sell, whether it be advertisement or products, they're going to try and draw our attention by using these two things in order to entice us. And if the media are just focused on trying to keep our eyes and ears directed to them, they're not really going to be focusing on what the truth is, because the truth can sometimes be boring, or the truth can sometimes be too plain. So they then focus on what our intuition and what our fears are and what our pleasures are. And that's kind of been the major letdown when you look at like modern media. And I personally think modern media, mainstream media in particularly, right now, they're in a fight against independent media. So they're starting to do a lot more of the clickbaity stuff where independent media started off from, in order to compete, because they realized that the traction was becoming too much towards independent media. So now sometimes if you look at YouTubing, for instance, and I don't know how it is in the States, but if you go on YouTube and some of the mainstream YouTube channels, all their thumbnails are very similar to the independent media stuff. There's no difference in Paul and KSI's thumbnail as there would be to one of the mainstream media's thumbnails. And there's a reason behind that, because they're trying to compete with this new outlet. And it's a major letdown, because we're not getting the truth anymore. We're just getting the clickbaity stuff that would draw us into this state.
What's it called? It's like just headline news. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? You're right. And I think it's a real thing that I say that because they say we're in the age of information. That's what they say. But what we need to do is find a way to shift from the age of information to the age of truth. You know what I'm saying? And not, of course, there's subjective truths, but there are real truths out there that are real for, you know what I'm saying? So we need to find a way to be able to figure out where this information is coming from and if it's from a valid source, you know what I'm saying? So that'll be the next big challenge, I think, for us as, just everywhere in the United States and the world in general, is figuring out what is true about what is being said. Because now you can search up anything anywhere at the fingertips, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think, growing up in the ages, they would hide knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Now you can't hide knowledge, but what you can do is change what people are finding. You know what I'm saying?
You can change the interpretation of something or try and alter
it.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because I had a conversation with someone regarding ultimate truth. Like we had a we had a near enough 3-hour debate in my house, and we're a bit tipsy, so we're probably just going around in circles. But he was saying he's very far left in his political view. I'm quite in the center. I don't sway left. I don't sway right. I just want to hear.
I think I'm pretty center.
I just want to hear stuff. And he said that the word ultimate truth in itself is bigoted. And I was like, how is that bigotry? Bro, how? He goes, the ultimate truth can't exist because it, what's the word he uses? He ostracizes people. He said something along them lines. I was like, what the heck? So you're saying, okay, bending the truth in order to make people feel good,
right?
Would be the way that we navigate across the world. And I was like, no, we're going into a state of madness right now. Me personally, that's what I believe. If that's how we want to navigate the world, whereby ultimate truth is non-existent because it can make a marginalized group potentially.
I agree.
And I was like, look, I believe everyone should be able to do whatever the hell they want. And so should I. I should be able to go to church if I want to, and you should be able to dislike church, a Christian philosophy if you want to. That's up to you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There should be laws that protect both of us from having those beliefs, and that protects us from respecting your beliefs and you respecting mine. But nonetheless, I should be able to do what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And if to say ultimate truth is bigoted, as it marginalizes a particular group, then where do we stand as a people?
Then where is, you know what I'm saying, then what is true? What's gravity? Is gravity not an ultimate truth?
I mean, give it 5 years, gravity might be a bigotry word.
We don't say that here. We said ultimate centrifugal force, so I don't know.
I mean, at the stage that we're going right now, everything is being questioned. Everything is being...
That's true. People, man, with the moon and the earth being flat, I'm like, oh my gosh, guys.
Yeah. Have you ever been caught in a rabbit hole where you discover something new and then constantly social media starts pushing it at you? Because I was about to have a recording with a virologist, so I wanted to study vaccines and stuff like that, just in order to enable me to have an educated opinion and write good enough questions to have conversations with this individual. And the worst thing you can ever do on YouTube or on social media is type in a particular question, because now you're going to get bombarded with this. So I typed in anti-vaxxers. I just wanted to know what's going on here. And for the last three weeks, every time I turn on YouTube, or any social media, I'm getting bombarded with anti-vaxxer propaganda.
Anti-vax stuff, huh?
And it's I can see how
it's the algorithm, man.
Yeah. I was being introduced to groups on Facebook and also,
wow.
I was like, yo, I just wanted to.
You start seeing ads about it and things like that on Instagram, huh?
Yeah. I'm having all sorts. So now all sorts of weirdos are adding me on social media, and I'm being introduced to some weird stuff, and I'm like, yo, I can see how. So have you looked into the anti-vaxxers? So if you look into anti-vaxxers, there's a particular group that it dominates. It's at-home single mothers, or mothers with multiple kids. So I don't know. I tried to look into it to figure out psychologically what's happening here. So it's a group of people that are at home and obviously are concerned because they've got children and they've dealt with vaccines historically. So they've probably gone online to search up potential like side effects of vaccines. And then a couple of months down the line, they find themselves drawn up into this environment.
This whole, yes.
Another 6 months down the line, they're in the middle of Trafalgar Square in London protesting. And there's a journey. Do you know what I mean? There's a journey.
There's an arc.
Your kids. So I realized that because I follow the trail, I get really excited when I find bits of information. That's just how I am. So
you're a dot connector, huh?
Yeah, I am. It's crazy. So then I realized that there's actually a journey from parents asking simple questions on Google, being like, oh my God, how is this going to affect my 2-year-old son? To them being in the street protesting against the government.
Right, exactly. I'm out here because I don't want my son. Exactly.
It's scary stuff because obviously social media, they try to make money by drawing eyes onto them. But at the same time, they also have to follow the route of enticing people with what it is that they want and they search for the most. So,
it's a very what's the word? Not delicate, but it's an interesting situation. You've seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've actually contacted a few of the guys who were on there, so I'm in conversation.
Okay, with them. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. When you talk to them, tell them to figure it out.
I mean, it's interesting because some of them built it, and then it's like the machine is bigger than me now. I don't know what the hell it is. So
right, that's always the thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's scary.
That's
How did you feel after watching that?
I was like, it's just stuff you already know. You know what I'm saying? But how they break it down so bluntly and in your face is like, wow, they already know too. And they're still struggling. So that was the thing that got me. I was like, oh, so they already know what it's doing. They just don't know what to do about it or how to go, you know. So it's very interesting because as an artist, I got to be up on these things, you know what I'm saying? And I hate it. I really hate it. Yeah. But it's the way to get the things and the message out there. Yeah. Like I was just thinking about it today. Like, why do I have to be on Instagram so much? I was like, why? Because I can't put content on Twitter, and YouTube is not the right kind of like digestible content. People can't just scroll through YouTube like that to just quick content. So that's why it's got to be either TikTok, which still I'm not really into yet, because that's a whole thing. If you get into man. And then so that's why I'm on Instagram, because this is the best way for me to get my message out there consistently, like on, you know, the way I want it, at least for right now, or one of the really good ways to do it and get my message out there. So that's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like double-edged sword, you know what I'm saying? But what I think needs to happen is researching how to go about it healthily, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all new. We're all being exposed to it at the same time. Like, this is a big shift in human culture, you know, in general. Like 20 years, we're going to look at this and be like, oh, we didn't even realize how big this thing was. Yeah. Like the printing press was, you know what I'm saying? They were probably like, oh, we just want newspapers faster or whatever. And that like really changed, you know, how messages and things got about, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be something akin to that. But what we need to do is just figure, and we learn how to decipher. You could kind of tell, you know, reading, this does not look like a real story, you know what I'm saying? We figured that out on like that side of like, eventually we figured out how to deal with paper, you know what I'm saying? And that type of media. So now it's just like in our evolution, we just have to figure out now how to deal with this new kind of thing we've created. And so I think that's just, the research has to go into figuring out, okay, if you have certain conditions or certain ways certain mental things, maybe you shouldn't be online so much. You know what I'm saying? Talk to your doctor about your online use, you know what I'm saying? So, and you think about a schedule that you can get to that can help you function, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be things like that. And that might sound silly right now. Why should I go to my doctor about my social media use? Well, so you avoid like deep depression from like, what is it? What's the word? comparing yourself, you know what I'm saying? Things like that.
It's like, because a lot of people are committing suicide off of the back of it, especially like young girls when it comes to like body and physical features and
exactly
depressed about it.
exactly.
And if you look at like human interaction as well, like the literature says that we can only know more than 150 people. Like our minds, our brains can't take that. But there's people on social media. There's like 14-year-old girls with like millions or hundreds of thousands of men continuously like hitting them up on social media. So how are you able to take in that level of interaction where at
that age?
Age, when we're told that the literature says 150 people, we've all gone beyond that. So how does that even work? To me, for me in particular, I'm not big on social media, even though I'm supposed to, because it's the work I do. But I just love what I do, and then I put out there in the hope that those that enjoy it as much as me get something out of it as much as I do. But like I can't deal with social media because of my communication style. So I like to break things down. I like to have proper conversations with people. And like for Twitter, it's about my no-goes, like my number one hate, because I feel like people are trying to have serious, I don't know if they really have a serious conversations, but people want to express themselves in depth, but they've only got minimal amount of words to do this. And you're never going to get to the bottom of anything. Because I can say 2 words to you, even though I'm trying to get to know, but you might take that as an insult because of the introduction. To have in order to make that introduction. Whereas here, if we're having a conversation and I say something that's out of line, we can work through it. Because
I can ask a question and like, yo, what did you really mean right here? And you can like go in depth about things,
and then we can agree to disagree or whatever, or like I can explain it to the point where you might understand and get my point. But I remember when I first my friends always like, yo, you need to jump on Twitter because of the podcast and you have like great content, get involved in people's conversations. So one day I thought, okay, and they know me, like when we're in public or when we're together in a group, I get the conversation cracking. And like I always play like the devil's advocate because I like I'm that guy in there. I thought they were like, just be yourself on Twitter, and I'm like, no, you don't want me to be myself. I'm gonna get cancelled if I be myself.
Oh my god!
So don't delete my account. My sisters have warned me about this. They were like, look, try not to be yourself too much on Twitter because it's good.
Oh my god!
But I thought, okay, one day let me be myself, And me being myself means that if I might not necessarily believe in something, but if someone makes a statement, I'll probe them on it. So there's a she listens to this podcast anyway. There's a feminist follower who I have who was on Twitter, and it's like on her Twitter handle, she's always going on about the patriarchy, like that's her thing, 24/7. Crush the patriarchy. Patriarchy this, patriarchy that. Fair enough, that's your fight. So I told her, can you define the patriarchy? Because according to this is a privilege which benefits all men. But I believe that what was the statement I said? I said, I believe that you're attributing the hyper performance and acquisition of resources of a small group of men to all men. But if you consider if you go to the far extreme and consider all of the worst things that's happening to people in this world is actually happening to men: imprisonment, violent crime, suicide, homelessness. So I listed a whole bunch of stuff with stats. That's just me being that annoying guy. So and she was like, oh, you as a black man, you benefit from patriarchy, this and that. So she went into one and I went into one as well. Then obviously because she has a larger following, I hardly have anyone on Twitter. All of my friends were like, so me being myself as I was told to be got me into a war with women calling me all sorts of bigotry names, and I'm like, I'm far from.
Like I'm done.
I'll tell you that for free. Like I've got.
Oh my god!
You probably don't. I've got more diversity in my circle than you do. Like
Oh my gosh! But that's interesting.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I got labeled as something. Do you know what I mean? That I'm not. Because I inquired your beliefs, which you clearly haven't looked into that deeply. Because if you did, you'd be able to have a constructive argument to back up or to counter everything I just said. Do you see what I mean? Because you are blaming the hyper performance. That part of it, is my belief for the patriarchy, but I also understand what she means by patriarchy and benefit, because I think everyone has privilege. Everyone has their own level of privilege. Women do, men do, black, white. Everyone has their level of privilege. But you're acclaiming the most hyper at the top. And I was like, yo, Like, let me challenge you and then see where you're coming from.
Yeah, just a little challenge, just
Yeah,
to
just
see
a
like the angles that you're from.
And people don't like
Yeah,
being challenged as well. That's my worry. That's
that's the
my thing
thing.
in particular. I'm like, if we don't challenge each other, we're never gonna get anywhere. You know what I mean? Because iron
Yes.
sharpens iron, and if I'm not able to like challenge you on your most extreme beliefs, and you just want to
Hmm.
label me off of the back of that, that's crazy. Like Twitter's not for me. Then I'd rather stick to podcasting where I can have like in-depth conversations
The
or chat.
conversation.
So
Yeah, I believe
yeah, I
it.
struggle
Yeah.
with social media, but I gotta get better at it because I need to get my work out there. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, that double-edged sword. Got to get the work out, but don't want to injure yourself, like putting
yeah,
the work out. You know what I'm saying?
do it.
But
So. Yeah, but
so, like
social
I
media
said,
also has its great benefits. I
of
mean, one in
course.
particular, which recently happened, was like the End SARS movement and the
Hmm.
impact of social media that had. There was something intriguing that happened here in the UK during that whole movement. Was the day after the shooting of the protesters by the
Hmm.
Nigerian army, there was a
Hmm.
statement sent to the Centre Number 10 Downing Street here in the UK
Hmm.
from the Nigerian government saying that all the shootings were false and
Hmm.
nothing had happened. So
Interesting.
very interesting. So
Interesting.
the following morning, we got a statement saying that, oh yeah, we just heard from the Nigerian authorities and nothing had happened there. So it's just a whole bunch of
Uh-huh.
kids. So I was like, okay, hold on a moment. I watched DJ Switch's live. I watched
Hmm.
various people in Nigeria's lives. I saw people's legs
Hmm.
hanging off. I saw the shootings
Yeah.
live before CNN.
Hmm.
I remember CNN done a
Hmm.
recent documentary revealing exactly what happened using satellite
Right.
and various cameras. So, are you
Hmm.
telling me that this was some sort of Hollywood staged
Hmm.
live that was filmed
Like
using?
a flash mob.
Yeah.
It's just
Let's get our cameras out.
a
A couple of like gangs, prosthetic legs. So I was like, wait, hold on. Is this government being so naive to think that they can send a statement to other countries'
Mhm,
leaderships and completely deny and lie about everything that we saw live? You see what I mean? So that's
mhm.
the power of social media, having access to like
Right. The
live,
actual things that's going on at that moment. That
yeah,
is the power of social media. You're correct.
most
That's true.
definitely.
And even the same thing, even more locally, with like police shootings, uh,
Mm,
the fact that people are able to
yeah,
share
yeah,
videos like that, they've always happened. Just no one was able to quickly share something like that to get a mass awareness to it. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? So that is it's not, it's not bad. We have to learn how to use the tool. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? It's just a tool of what we're using. If you use a hammer to build a house, great. If you use a hammer to smack someone in the head, not so great. It's the
mm,
same tool. You know what
mm.
I'm saying? It's just, what are you using it for? Do you give a hammer to a baby, or do you give a hammer to a carpenter? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So we have to learn how to use this tool that we've
yeah,
built ourselves, but we have to learn how to use it. You know what
most
I'm
definitely.
saying?
And I think it serves as a deterrent as well, especially as like you mentioned, with like the police shootings that have been documented recently, and with the protests and protecting
Hmm.
those that are in the front line. But in regards to like American police, like us in the UK, I mean, our police don't even carry guns. They only firearm police only get called out when there's a firearm incident. So they're like a completely different unit because obviously we don't have, the guns are not legal here, but people still get guns over from Europe, like the old USSR, Russia, and so forth. So guns still get
Hmm.
shipped in, but it's not as rife as it is in America. Like you can't just go.
Hmm.
I remember when I was in New York one time. I forgot. Like someone said, like if you sign up for that bank account, you get like a rifle or something. And I was like, "That's wild." Like I don't know if I saw an ad or something. This was years ago, about 10 years. And I
That's
was like, "That's
crazy.
wild." In the UK, you're not picking up a gun that easy. But is it
No,
what's the situation like with the police over there? Is it really like as dark as we get to see it from our end?
I think, man, it's again, everything is two sides, and
Mm,
the media is good at hyper inflating things and things like that. It's real what happens with the police and people of color. It's
mm,
real. And then on the other side, of course, there are noble police officers who want to do a good job. and who don't want any of this to be happening. But the issue comes when man, like I said, it's the media is really good at like showing fear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when fear is in play, reason goes away. Like, it's real what's happening, but the media is good at showing everyone the fear. And so the people on the other side, the police officers, become, what's the word? I guess defensive, you know what I'm saying? Because they feel like they're doing their best. Of course, you know what I'm saying? So they feel like now we have to protect our own as well too, you know what I'm saying? So it becomes a whole defensive thing. This side versus that side.
It's a tribalistic nature of us, of humans, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a tribalistic nature. And so it becomes that side is denying what's happening on the other side, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? There are people on, I guess whatever, all lives matter, if that's what you want to call it, saying, yes, but police officers and things are happening. Yes, that is true. Yes, but that's not the argument that we're having right now, because you can see, you can just with your eyes, you can see the drastic difference of what happens between people of color and other races. You can see, and then when you break down the numbers statistically, you can see it's in higher percentages. We're not the minorities or I guess Black people are not the they are not the majority of people in America, but the statistic of crimes against or police brutality against them is higher in their bracket than it is in any other bracket. So it's a rate thing. So, but then when that comes to the other side, again, it's just the defense. But no. So you're saying that my dad, who's the best dad in the world, is a police officer. You're saying he's killing Black people? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes, people have to be able to have a conversation, and a real conversation, without feelings can get involved, but wanting to see things from the other side and then wanting to get better. Everybody just wants their team to win. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants the collective to be better. So I say that all to say it's a mix of both. Like, there are things happening that have always happened that are now just becoming shed to light. But some people may feel that it's being exaggerated because the media is good at using it for their own purposes.
You
know what I'm saying? So it's real and exaggerated at the same time. And so the exaggerated part is where the other side is seeing, because they feel like they're being exaggerated against. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, there has to be a conversation and there has to be goodwill between parties.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say parties because that makes it terrible. That makes it seem like there are actually feuding parties. It makes it seem like there's actually police against people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's all a system. We're all in the same system. So what we need to do is, it's the system that needs to change. You know what I'm saying? People are, the whole defund the police thing, that all goes to messaging. Like, how are you speaking? Like, why would you say defund the police? Why would you say that? If I'm a police officer and I hear that, of course I'm not going to support it.
Of course,
defund.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would I just support that? Why would you defund doctors? Why? Why? Doctors have a lot of
your livelihood potentially going?
Exactly. So the conversation should have been, okay, not defund the police. Let's reallocate community funds. Boom. Aren't the police part of the community? Yes. Okay. Or let's reallocate what's it called? Community protection funds. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? So the message comes across, oh, the funds are being reallocated. What does that mean? Let me look into that. What's reallocate? Oh, you're gonna move this to here. Why? because what? Oh, because there's too much money that goes into here, and these people are suffering detrimentally in comparison. So that if we can take some extra and give to these people, this system can still do its job. These people can feel a little better, and let's have a little system in between so these people can communicate. Let's throw some money in between there so these people can, have a way of having good terms in between each other on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think the conversation needs to get to. Everyone needs to put tribalism and pride aside if we can, or have spokespeople from sides who can do that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And want to come together and make it better, make the system better. But first there has to be some acknowledgement on both sides, you know what I'm saying? And then agreement to try to get it better. And I don't know how we're going to do that, but we need to do that. It's simple, but it's easy and simple are not the same thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the common goal should be the same. I had a really interesting conversation with, I don't know if you heard of him, William Van Hippel. He's a very renowned evolutionary biologist. And I asked, because I know he's a biologist, but I just asked him the race question anyway. I was like, why is there such a big divide? And it seems to be, from the outside, a even bigger divide developing more recently. And he explained to me the human behaviors in terms of war and perceived war. So right now, there's a perceived war. There's not
perceived
really a war. Like we can say there's a race war. There's not really a war. A war is a completely different word. We're walking on the street, killing each other, punching each other up. That's not what's happening. But in terms of war and perceived war, we retract back to protecting our own. We retract back to our tribes. And what that happens is that even though we're having a war and it's a conversational war, we become more bigoted to the opposition because everyone wants to win instead of finding a common ground to work together. So his interpretation of what's going on is that everyone's retrieves back to their own, and it becomes hard to then have a common ground conversation. Because I have to stick with my tribe. I have to back my tribe.
I got to stick with my team. You know
I
have
to back my team, and that's what it is. And because I put forward the scenario to him when I was answering this question. I said to him, whenever I'm watching two boxers fight, and one is black, one is white, it hurts me when the black guy's getting beaten up.
Why you got to talk about Nate Curry? I mean, Nate.
I try not to drop his name in there. I try not to drop his name in there because he's been getting back.
Oh, redacted.
Because he's been getting bad online. But I gave him that example. I was like, but I think I switched up the names. I said, oh, if Anthony Joshua was to be fighting Tyson Fury or whatever, I would be hurt if Anthony Joshua was punched up. And he goes, one of the conversations that we're not having is the honest and truthful conversation about what tribalism works. But we need to figure out how we can better function in a multicultural society where there's various tribes and everyone's being protected equally and taken care of equally. And that's the issue. But the more we retract into our tribes and the more we struggle to find common grounds and stuff, it makes it more difficult. So now it's like we're all trying to create our own like hubs within our tribes. I recently heard that there's a new national anthem in America, the Black national anthem.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been there. It's like it's always been there. It's
okay, so it's not something new.
It's not something new. It's I'm not sure exactly when it started, if it was pre-Civil War or not, but it's been there in history, but it's like a personal, like almost like a hymn or a spiritual that that has always been said amongst themselves. Like they know that it's there. But now it's to the point like, okay, well, we have it, y'all don't respect us with that anthem, as we can see per Colin Kaepernick. So we got to embrace something else. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what it is. Because I used to be a substitute teacher, and a lot of the schools I went to were, predominantly Black schools. Some of them weren't. Some, were just normal public schools. But some of them I went to were predominantly Black, and they would have the regular national anthem, and they would have the Black national anthem. Yes, so it's been a thing. So it's just now, I think they're becoming the movement is trying to make it like a more bigger like staple of the culture.
Yeah, it's interesting because in America it's more In the UK, it's more of a class war than it is a class perceived war than it is a racial thing. Because here, like it's you know, they love their middle class, upper class, aristocrats. Like they just that's the British history. You know what I mean? So for instance, like when I talk to people from the States, they're like, "Oh, you sound English. You sound very posh." Or whatever. And I'm like, no. If you ask about my accent in England, it's at the bottom of the stairs. I'm a local boy in England. I'm like,
they're like, this is not proper English.
Yeah, this is not proper. This is like when people hear me, they'll know I'm black. Like it's not the Queen. I don't sound like the Queen, but
that's not the Queen's English.
It's funny because when I speak to people that don't know much about like UK culture, they assume because especially if they're American or whatever, they assume because I sound British more than obviously they assume that it's good British. I'm like, no, bro. Like, I mean, if I pick up the phone, they know where I'm from. They know how I look like.
Right. They're like, hey, man, what are you trying to stunt on me with your accent? Like, I'm not.
Yeah. And it's a class thing because here, once they hear you, they automatically associate you with a class. And I can hear a white person and automatically associate them with their class. We all sound very, very different based on whatever class criteria they put you in. And it's very interesting, man, because the wars of race and class and stuff like that is going to be a bane on us until us as society are able to have like proper conversations as to how to sort of like fix the system as a whole.
Yeah,
I feel like included.
That's interesting. Yeah, there's not so much of like I mean, there's always class issues, you know what I'm saying? Like there's always like right now we have the middle class is getting I don't know if it's getting, I'm trying to remember if it's getting bigger or smaller right now. I think the middle class is getting, I want to say bigger.
I think it's getting bigger.
Which means it's harder to like get up to like a bigger.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? And the poverty. So there's being what it is a bigger divide. Like the poverty gap is increasing, and then also the 1% gap is like what it takes to be in the 1% is like drastically increasing.
Yeah. Thanks to
so the middle class
and the gang. Yeah.
So the middle class is getting squished with everything, with taxes and all that stuff, because lower class can't pay taxes. High 1% getting tax cuts. So middle class is getting squeezed. Yeah. So it's not like no one goes and like listens to middle class guy, I'm not going to talk to you type of thing. I mean, of course, it might be like that for sure, but it's not like an inherent like people being in front of top of the thing and people's. It's more so the race thing over here. But it's interesting for that to be the case over there in the UK with all because
here there is.
I know it's like that in India as well too.
Oh yeah, for real, yeah. Like here in the UK, there is a working class tone. There's a tone to our accent, and it's associated with being working class. And it's funny because sometimes, so when I was in university or your local college, we had this lecture and we were talking about class, and they said, "Oh, everybody in this room right now, if you pass your degree and you get the certificate, you automatically leave the working class status." And I'm like, "Huh? Okay, cool."
Okay, cool. I guess moving on now.
Like, I wasn't really queuing up to enter or exit any class. I don't really care. But the assumption was that the original working class never really got the university degree. And it shows that in that lecturer's mind, he was really old school in that sense that he in his programming, he thought he was still under the assumption that that's how things work now and that's how they should work. You guys should be privileged to be here because once you get your degree now, you're going to be stepping into the middle class. I'm like, no, I'm going to be stepping into the unemployment line. Like,
right. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's been interesting times in the last couple of years in terms of like, I feel like it's been like whereas you was talking about the 1%ers, I feel like it's been the biggest wealth grab ever in history. Like it's been ridiculous in terms of like how wealth is being shifted, like true wealth.
Yeah.
And if you watch all the major companies that are thriving during these times, it just shows you where money's going to end up after all of this is done, and the people are really going to struggle because independent businesses are crumbling. Like I've got friends with businesses who are like they've been forced into taking loans that they had no mind of planning to take prior to this year, but they have to in order to keep their business afloat. And it's going to have a detrimental effect onwards from here, because some of them are taking 50 grand, 100 grand just to survive, not even to make profit or break even. So once we're done with all of this chaos that we're going through, there's going to be a lot of independent businesses crumbling and going into major debt that they never anticipated. And that wealth grab is going somewhere. So it's been an interesting times, and I'm just telling people just to be aware of what they're doing and how they're doing it, because not only is it playing out now, it's going to play out for years to come. Like years to come. I mean, obviously you're in essential work, so you're safe in that space. But currently, right now here in the UK, I'm on a thing called furlough, which means that
I know what that is.
Yeah, you understand the process, how it works, and the government pays 80% of your salary and so forth. And organizations are putting workers onto these schemes in order to protect themselves, because we can save money from paying his salary up until March. But then after March, they make the decision whether to keep it or not, depending on how much they were able to save. So it's tricky times for everyone, man. It's very, very tricky times. But I mean, we survived worse, and I'm sure we'll survive this and come out of it thriving, man.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's the thing, you know, us going through it now. There are definitely things that we are going through. Of course, yes, there's going to be some detrimental things, but the experience of all of us that are able to come across on the other side will be an experience that we can hopefully build on. You know what I'm saying? Everything happens so that you can prepare for, you know, maybe a similar situation in the future and prepare for it better. You know what I'm saying? Because through this year, a lot of people might have tried to or had to do a lot of different things that they might not have spent time doing. You know what I'm saying? Besides the fact that they had to stay at home, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they would have done their regular job, but now they had to find some way to keep their mind busy. So they tapped into a passion of theirs and things like that. And so, like I say that because like this year I put out 3 projects, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's the most amount of music that I put out in a year. And, you know, if I didn't have like, I still had some downtime, you know what I'm saying? Because everyone else had downtime. So if I didn't have that extra downtime, I might not have put out as much work as I needed to, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, so different things have come from me doing that, like different people I've met. So it's like, wow, if this hadn't happened, I might not have done this type of thing. So there's always like a couple ways to look at it. I know that businesses will have to deal with like, people have to deal with things, but if you're able to come like through that, it's definitely like a scar, and like when you scar up your muscles, that's how you build them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's tough. Like right now it's a very long workout that we don't necessarily want to be in. You know what I'm saying? And if we can make it, of course, like if we can make it past, we have to deal with like the recovery. You know what I'm saying? Ouch, it hurts. Da, 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 da. But you know, come down the road, maybe 2-3 years, the lessons, whatever we had, the trouble, the challenges we went through that we were able to, you know, surpass. Maybe 2-3 years down the road, we'll be able to say, "Oh, cool! I learned that lesson then, and now I can function this way." And now I'm maybe this situation I'm in now, I would have folded a long time ago, but because I was able to do something in that Corona season and I was able to keep going, this is nothing because I was able to do that back then. So, you know, I think that's another way of looking, and that's how I usually try to look at things anyway. That's like my default of like, all right, but, and that's to my dad. He's like always growing up. He's like, well, what did you learn? We go to the movies, watching like, I don't know, Winnie the Pooh or whatever. He's like, what did you learn? I'm like, bro, it was Winnie the Pooh. I don't know.
He wants to know everything, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's it. It's like take something.
That's amazing, man. Like one thing that I'm definitely gonna do once all of this is over is I'm definitely gonna exaggerate the situation to my kids. I'm gonna be exaggerating like some crazy Hollywood movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like y'all don't even want to know about
those zombies, people walking around. Like I was walking around like the Walking Dead. I had my sword with me.
I had my sword and my flamethrower on deck.
I'm definitely exaggerating because you know there's gonna be a couple of movies made about it, so they're gonna exaggerate.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're waiting for it, and then I'm gonna take that to the next extent and push it above.
Take you
But
kids to the
just
movie. I was there.
yeah, I was there, man. But what works do you have up and coming that you want the people to know about? Like, what sort of projects you got?
So I just dropped an album. This is my first, like, I call it my first album. I put out a couple of different like projects and things like that, but this is my first like effort to put out a cohesive album. And I put it out November 30th. It's called Scorpion in the Sun, Road to Kemet. Yeah, that's the most recent thing that I put out. I haven't decided when I'm going to start working on something new yet, because I'm still, in the process of like fleshing out this last one and like figuring out ways to market it and like figuring out what songs are doing the best. But if people want to check it out, it's on everything: Spotify, Apple Music. It's even on SoundCloud right now. It's on Tidal. But that song is a very, like I said, I had no intentions really of making an album like that, except for what the circumstances of this year was. And then certain things, like the thought came and I was like, all right, I guess it's time to do it now. So, and I had like a lot of friends on there help me. A lot of people were involved in making it. So it's a very like, and the project itself is a very like personal project, but I want it to help people on their own journey. It's like kind of like a soul journey, like the journey of like self-discovery. Why did you start what you were doing? Where are you going? How, type of thing. And I just hope people can vibe with it, get some messages from it, and bump it on their playlists going home from work.
I'm definitely gonna check it out, and obviously I'll get the links and everything and pump that out as well, man. Most definitely. So I'll give you your feedback on that once I've checked that out. But
please do,
I'll definitely love to catch up with you again, man.